What's up, guys? This is YouTuber Ryan Trahan, and you just heard.
Welcome into another episode of You Heard, where we feature athletes, celebrities, and influencers who showcase their NFL fandom. In today's episode, we have YouTuber, vlogger, and entrepreneur Ryan Trahan joining us, who's a huge Texans fan. Ryan, thanks for being on with us, and you're rocking the jersey, of course. I forgot my Bills jersey. I should have put one on for this interview, but we got the logo, the big shield right behind us, so repping Bills in a certain way here. I want to ask you, when did you become a Texans fan?
Okay, so I grew up in Southwest Houston. So basically, upon birth, I became a Texans fan. However, I think I need to look up the exact year that they were established because I think it was like I was like 3 years old whenever the Texans actually became a team. So that's probably the official date upon their inception. It's been a long road to becoming a competitive team, but it's fun. It's amazing.
I see you have something on your chalkboard behind you. I don't know. I don't know if that score's right, Ryan.
No, I got the script for this week. So I,
Oh.
I actually, yeah, I got the first script.
Hmm.
It got released, and I heard this is going to be the score. So,
Yeah, how'd you get that script? Because I feel like the NFL gave me the script and the scores actually flipped.
oh no, that was a typo. I got Roger texted me actually. So,
Oh, you and Raj, just good old friends.
yeah, that's right.
Well, moving on, we'll talk about that score later, and maybe our thoughts on this game. You got to announce wide receiver Tank Dell as a draft pick in the third round of the 2023 NFL Draft. How was that moment for you?
It was literally one of the best days of my life. Don't tell my wife. My wedding was awesome. I had a great time. But literally, the NFL Draft 2023, it was so much fun. I was there whenever they announced CJ Stroud. I wanted CJ Stroud on the Texans, and then they traded up for Will Anderson. I'm literally jumping around like a little kid. And then I got to find out that I was going to actually announce a pick, and I wanted the Texans to draft Tank Dell. I'm obsessed with like college. I like to see like the different players that might, enter the league. And Tank Dell from University of Houston. I knew it'd be so cool if we got him on the Texans. I open up the scorecard. I see Nathaniel Dell. He hates when people call him Nathaniel. I had to say it, Tank. I had to say it. But it was honestly, it was amazing. I had so much fun. Amazing day.
That's a moment where you're up on stage in front of that many people. You're on NFL Network, ESPN. You get the mic and you're like, "Oh man, I better not mess this up."
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. It went well. I did sound a little nervous on stage, but hey, that's life.
10 out of 10 performance. I watched it. I think it was great. Do you have any favorite Texans players right now? This is a roster that is loaded. If you look at their wide receiver core, I mean, you guys have so much talent at that position group. And then if you look at the defensive line, it's star-studded. You also have some great corners in there as well.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch. I mean, I've seen the team build over the last few years. I really started watching again in 2019 when the Texans and the Chiefs played in the AFC Championship. And that was a crazy time to watch because they almost made it to the Super Bowl. And then Patrick Mahomes did his thing. And then we basically became one of the worst teams in the league for a while. And so I saw them pick Derek Stingley, third overall pick. That's exciting. That's a big piece. And then the next year, I think we picked that. I guess that might have been 2022. The point is, we have so many young players. Tank Dell's obviously my favorite because I got to announce his pick.
Mhm.
CJ, I've got the CJ jersey on. He's
Yep.
awesome. Love him. I just think that we've got a really great team, great culture. D'Amico Ryans is awesome too. So I'm stoked. Pretty much anyone on the team I'm excited about.
D'Amico does seem like a really cool coach, a player coach. You hear about being player coaches in the NFL. It seems like a lot of players really enjoy getting to play for a coach like him. Do you know anything about the Buffalo Bills? They've got this quarterback named Josh Allen who's pretty rock solid and, you know, sometimes does some incredible things when he's on the field.
Yeah. No, I think Josh Allen is awesome. I really like his story because in college he wasn't the most accurate, but he's got a crazy arm, he's athletic. And I think that people like Josh set the roadmap to show that you can actually like see potential in a player and spend time to let him progress because I don't know if you guys have seen, but like with Bryce Young recently, he got benched after like a year and a couple games. Like it was kind of discouraging to see. And when you have stories like Josh Allen in the league, it's like we should just kind of like keep developing them, let them learn. And obviously, Josh is he's just a different animal for sure. He's so fun to watch. I'm a little bit nervous for this weekend just because of him, but yeah, I think the Bills are actually a really fun team, and it's been cool to see how he's adapted without Stephon Diggs, even though he's on the Texans now. He
You
seems
got him
he
now.
seems to
You
be
got
doing pretty
your
well.
weapon.
Yeah.
Well, if we talk about this game on Sunday against the Texans, what are your expectations for this matchup early in the season between two really good teams?
It's interesting. I think are we both 3-1? Are the Bills
Yeah,
3-1?
yeah.
Okay. Well, someone's gonna be 4-1. I think it's gonna be the Texans. However, I do think the Texans have had very sloppy play recently, like penalties, flags, false starts. They know it. I think that they can play a lot better than they've already played. We've had some close games recently, but I know the Bills have absolutely dominated. Like they beat the Jags by I mean, how many points? It was crazy. So I think it's gonna be a heavy hitting game. Hopefully we have Joe Mixon back and we have a chance in the running game, but hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be close just because we know what's on both sides of the ball. I was a little bit surprised to see when I was looking up stats that the Texans were only averaging like right under 20 points per game with a quarterback like CJ and wide receivers like Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon. I thought you guys would be up in the top 10. So, fingers crossed that, the number is under 20 points in this game and maybe the Bills can be over that.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, Ryan, let's get into what you're known for. If you go over to your YouTube page, you have more than 17 million subscribers and more than 3.5 billion views, which is a huge number. So kudos to you for being able to accumulate that type of following. That's so awesome. And it's easy to see why people watch, why people follow, because your videos just suck you in. I was on your YouTube channel just clicking around the other day and like an hour goes by and I'm like, oh my gosh, it is so easy to watch your videos. You're known for your penny challenge where you travel across the country in 30 days with just one penny and you use the funds from that penny to get across the country. Now, the really cool part about this is that you did it to draw attention to and to raise money for a charity. But how did you get the idea to start the penny challenge?
Okay, so I lived in a really small town in Texas, and I had this idea because I had the opportunity to work a summer job. Pretty much everyone in my small town worked at a water park, and so I did the water park one summer. It was super fun, but the next summer I was a senior and I'm about to go to college. It's like my last summer, and I'm like, I really want to do something where I post YouTube videos because I grew up watching YouTube. The only TV I watched really was football, sports and
Mhm.
Shark Tank. So I love like entrepreneurship. I really do like love seeing people build businesses and stuff. And so I wanted to try to like just do some hustling. And this concept of starting from a penny I thought was really inspiring. Pretty much everyone can find a penny on the side of the road. But if you can find a way to turn a penny into $1,000, that would be magical. So that's where it really started was when I was in high school. I set out a goal in the summer to turn a penny into $1,000, just buying and selling things. A lot of it was like buying video games in bulk from people on like Facebook Marketplace and selling them individually on eBay. So it was a real hustle. But that kind of taught me like, wow, there's so much meaning in a penny that it's something we all have. It's something we all have access to, and it's really just like, what can you turn that into? Even in my small town, I was able to do that with the resources of like the internet and stuff. And so further on, it became more of like an entertainment thing. So like you mentioned, like crossing America, starting from one penny, it was like this big ambitious thing where we also wanted to post 30 days in a row on YouTube, which in itself would be a really difficult challenge. But while also crossing America, trying to make money in real time, buying flights, shelter and food and stuff. And the biggest motivation for me, like you said, was to raise money for Feeding America. I thought it was a really perfect opportunity to like give the YouTube platform something exciting that felt fresh, but also do it for a purpose. Like people love to rally behind good. And I think, my YouTube channel, that's really my goal at the end of the day is to highlight people, the kindness of others, and just show that like there's so much generosity. If you're just walking down the street, it's easy to kind of turn a cold shoulder to pretty much everyone. But what that series taught me is that if you just if you were to just interact with most people would be kind. And I think the world kind of needs that, and that's why that series is so special to me for sure.
It is such a cool idea. I think it's something that everybody can also find a liking to because it has to do with things that we interact with and we touch every single day in our lives. It was interesting to see how you turned a penny into $5, into $10, selling water bottles, buying a cooler to sell pop, DoorDash, etc. What was the hardest part of that penny challenge?
Honestly, I think the hardest part about that penny challenge was the constant fear of being reset. So with the charity donation aspect, I wanted to gamify it so companies and big influencers would be excited. So the $50,000 donation
Right.
was the great reset. So as I'm making money, if I were to go from like $5 to $100 in a day, there could be any moment where someone could donate $50,000, which yeah, yay, that's actually exciting. Ultimately, it's a good thing, but also to start from scratch and lose all of your progress was definitely the hardest part. And I got reset 10 times throughout the
Oh
series,
my
which
gosh.
means we raised $500,000 through those 10 people, but also I had to start over many times. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want it any other way. It was great.
That is crazy that you had to get reset so many times. What was the best part of that challenge?
The best part of that challenge was absolutely the last day as I'm finishing and crossing the finish line. So Mr. Beast, I deliver a penny to Mr. Beast. That's like the ultimate goal from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. And he was so nice. He built this entire finish line. I had no idea he was going to do this. This very big finish line with like fireworks and balloons. I didn't even ask him to. He just built this to make it feel special for me. And I crossed the finish line and he's like, "Did you notice that your family's here?" And I like look over and I see my wife Haley, my dad, all my friends. And I was like, it was one of those things where you probably are only going to feel that feeling so many times in your life where you just finished something extremely difficult that has so much meaning and purpose to you, and you get to celebrate that with your friends and family. So it was just like very emotional. Absolutely the best part was the finish line.
That is so awesome. We've got a player who's a big fan of yours, so I want to pull up this video where he asks you a question. It's our tight end, Dalton Kincaid.
What's up, Ryan? This is Dalton Kincaid with the Buffalo Bills. If you had started off with a penny, would you be able to make it to a Bills home game? Flights, hotel, tickets, all of that. Big fan.
Let's go, Dalton. What's up? I don't know. Going from the West Coast to the East Coast was definitely a challenge, but maybe going from the South to the Northeast might be a little bit more difficult. Also, you guys are so good. The tickets are probably pretty expensive. Um, Now, I don't know. The Texans game, we had some pretty cheap tickets there for a while. So, um, but if you give me enough time and a shiny enough penny, I can make it happen.
Yeah, I think if you were standing near where tailgating is happening and you were selling blue lights, which is Buffalo's drink of choice, you would probably make enough to buy a ticket pretty quickly because our fan base likes to get after it in the best way. I guess from doing a challenge like the penny challenge and you accomplish something like that in your life, do you have a sense of feeling like I can do anything after doing something like that?
Well, it's so funny because I was pretty ambitious growing up. And so I kind of would just like set out and try to do crazy things. But I actually have such a deep respect for football players and like athletes in general because I ran track and cross country only because in middle school I joined the football team and I was like fourth string cornerback. And so at the end of the games, they put me in and I got an interception one time, which is very exciting. I got hit once and I was like, oh, that's how the sport works. I quit. So when it comes to doing things for YouTube, I do feel that way, random challenges. When it comes to what the Bills players, what the Texans and like professional athletes do every day, not so much. So huge respect for those guys.
How and when did you start to gain a huge following on YouTube?
Man, I specifically remember when I was at Texas A&M, I was living in College Station. I left school with 20,000 subscribers, which at the point was like, I wouldn't recommend anyone do that. But also to me, it was like I hit the lottery. Like I've got
Yeah.
20,000 subscribers. This is amazing. It's a dream come true. And I specifically remember about a year into making videos consistently, I had a video go super viral, and it was the summer of 2018. And it literally felt like it was one of those moments, Maddie. Like the finish, like crossing the finish line
Mhm.
for the Penny series of like all my dreams they're actually possible. And it felt like one of those moments where it happened. And so that was summer 2018. I hit 100,000 subscribers,
Wow.
and I was making enough money to like pay rent, buy groceries, and like it just felt like, man, this is truly a dream come true. And so basically everything from that point on has just been a bonus and a huge blessing.
A lot of your videos, I should say all of your videos, get millions of views, but is there a favorite challenge or video that you've done?
Okay, I love houses. I love going to different houses. And so whenever I get to stay in weird Airbnbs, that's genuinely like the most fun I have. Because the cool thing about those is like a lot of people put a lot of care and attention into the Airbnbs, and they try to have like an experience for you. And,
Mhm.
like, especially when you travel. I got to go all over Europe and stay in these OMG Airbnbs. One of them was in Wales, and it was literally like a UFO, and it was just some
Oh my
guy who like
gosh.
bought this like repoed UFO and like made it into some place you can stay. And I just get to meet people and experience places I normally wouldn't. And so those to me are like, I would do this for the rest of my life.
Very cool. Is there a famous person, an athlete, a celebrity that you want to see do the penny challenge?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of like who are the most personable people, because you
Yeah.
really have to kind of be like willing to be rejected and outgoing. And man, that's a good question. I actually love the idea of someone like Tom Brady, like
Mm.
who's very competitive. Would
Yeah.
they do well at it, or would they just feel like it's kind of silly? Um, but yeah, the most competitive people I think would probably do the best.
Yeah, and I wonder with a famous person like Tom Brady, and I'm sure you probably started to feel maybe not, but with the famous person like Tom Brady, I would wonder if people just would be like, "How much money do you need, buddy? Here you
Yeah,
go."
100%. He would have to wear a disguise. There's
Yes.
definitely like towards I did the European Penny series
Right.
in 2023 last year,
Mhm.
and so many people saw the one from 2022. There was a few times I'm like, I can't take this, man. But thank you so much for watching. And so it's definitely a concern, and Tom couldn't get away with just being Tom.
Yeah, they're like, "Ryan, buddy, here's
Yeah,
$200. I just want to
here's
help
10
you out."
euros. Yeah,
Here's some food for tonight. You're like, "I
yeah.
can't. You can't know my name, man."
That's so good.
If you weren't a content creator, what would you be doing?
Definitely not playing football. I'm not built for it. I mean, I would probably be doing track or cross country professionally. I don't think there's really professional cross country runners, but long distance running. I'm actually really excited to see. I feel like running has gotten really popular over the last few years. Whenever I was in college, like as a freshman, it felt like there were still a lot of professional runners that would get some sponsorships, but not really. And you'd kind of see like, I don't know, it wasn't a huge economy for just that type of thing, but so many of them are also creators now, which is interesting. Like
Yeah.
they are making content about their professional career. And that's what I love about YouTube. It feels like all roads kind of lead to creating content, even if you're a professional athlete or, I mean, Tom Brady's got a YouTube channel now. Tyreek Hill's got a podcast. So it's kind of interesting to see how even if I was doing that, it probably would have ended up making a channel at some point.
What is your advice to content creators out there? It's not easy to start a YouTube channel and dream for 100,000 subscribers off of, even if you're grinding and releasing videos every single day. What's your advice to people who are trying to make it in that industry?
Man, that's a great question. I think it definitely depends on your situation. If you're in high school and you basically don't have to worry about rent and bills, it's a great opportunity to take
Mm.
advantage of that, because it's way harder when those are, a concern. And I have friends right now that would love to start a channel, but it's the reality of life. You have to be able to afford your lifestyle, which means probably got to work a job and then in your free time also make videos. And so I think it's so fun just to dream big and make sure that you love it, because I love making videos and I love talking to people that love making videos and everything about YouTube. So just being willing to learn and just fall in love with the process, just like anything. Just treat it as your life's craft that you improve at every day. And, it's not a rush to become rich or famous or successful. It's really just about, the next video. How can I make the next video as good as possible? And just be consistent with it. And I'm sure it'll be successful.
All right, what are you working on right now? What can fans expect from you next?
So biggest things I'm working on, we're working on more travel videos. So I've got some really fun different like hotels, restaurants, and
Mm-hmm.
Airbnbs that I'm planning on going to. We've done some fun research to find some really cool places, but also Joyride. I've been working on a candy brand, and we're into Target, and we're also working on getting into other stores in the future next year. I've learned that the world of retail moves much slower than the world of content creation, so that's been pretty interesting to see. But I mean, those are my two big focuses right now. It's just making great candy and making great videos.
I mean, who doesn't love some great candy? So we'll definitely have to keep a lookout in our local stores here in Buffalo. To finish this off, Ryan, do you have a hot Texans take?
I would say that's probably my hot take. I think
I
the
would
Texans are due
agree.
for a blowout.
That
But
is
also,
that is
I
a
think
hot take.
that's a hot take. I think my big hot take is I think the Texans CJ Stroud's going to win a Super Bowl. And I don't even think that's really that hot of a take because he's been so good, but I've been saying that since early last year. So that was
I
hot. It's getting
I'm
slightly lukewarm.
I'm fine with that happening in a world where the Bills already have a Super Bowl. CJ can win
Okay.
his after.
Okay. I'm sure that could work out. That sounds
Well,
fair.
Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about this huge matchup coming up on Sunday. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maddie. So nice to meet you. Good luck.